to Absolutely Marvel and DC. My name is Benny, that is Sal, that is Dylan, that is Hassan, and DC's having a meltdown!
Again!
It's over!
The fifth time this year.
The golden age of DC comic book movies that have been perfect for years are falling apart now.
Oh no, who'd have thought?
What are we gonna do?
What are we
Jerry
gonna do?
Seinfeld.
Not my House of Cards.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot has happened, so much so that I have to cancel the show that we filmed yesterday because the news has changed.
Yeah.
Literally, Dan and me and Andy sat around and theorized what they should do and what they're doing, and then all of it was like confirmed that night. Like, here's what we're doing. Here's exactly. So,
does anyone else think it's creepy that like they broadcast the investor calls? Like, isn't that like a private?
I think they have to,
privileged
right?
information.
no, they legally have to. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
I thought that was just like I would if I was running a company, I would be really like sensitive about having to release a literal call giving you a breakdown of what we're planning to do in our company.
think that's why,
I think
like-
this is an open
If
company,
a-
right? It's open.
If a company
I guess
is
'cause
publicly
publicly
traded,
traded,
if it's
yeah.
a publicly
Yeah. Right.
traded company, they have to give the information to all of the traders. And I can go on there and buy a stock in WB, and now I own stock in WB.
So
but
they
you
might
don't
as well
have
just
my
make it
email,
public.
right? You don't
Right.
have my email. You don't have my phone number. So unless they're going to go to lengths to get all that information from the potential investors,
Right.
they just
Right.
make it public so that everyone is getting the information.
Which
That's why
their
back
stock
when
tanked.
the-
So if you guys want to buy the dip, if you think it'll ever go back up, I guess
Right?
this is your shot.
I'm sure it will, and given
Yeah.
enough time. That's
a
back.
good point,
Remember
Dylan.
when Marvel did their, I think it was their Phase 4 announcements initially. We got all that information from that weird like Kevin Feige in a green screen video
Yes,
that
that
was
was so
uploaded really low
uncomfortable.
quality. That was an
Yeah.
earnings, like an investor thing.
There we go. Okay.
So let's kick this off from the beginning of this whole thing. I'm gonna give a rundown as to where we are now, and then we can
Please.
discuss where we are now with this whole thing. Okay, because
Sure.
a lot has happened in the last couple of days. Like it was almost like a beat by beat minute of here's what's happening, and then that getting refuted because that guy was lying, but then this information came out. So here's where we are now. Batgirl
Okay.
was canceled. $90 million down the drain.
Gone.
The movie it's not confirmed how much it was done, but general consensus seems to be that it was at least 95% done. Considering it was originally supposed to come out the end of July, I believe that.
Yeah.
So they've also canceled the Scoobs spinoff. If you don't know what that is, they did a Scoob movie, which was a year ago, which was like an alternate timeline where the Mystery Machine Gang met younger. And there was a third movie, and that collectively got them back $200 million for some quarterly review.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where it started.
Boy.
Right. So they canceled two movies that were done, and they were never going to release them ever, and everyone just lost it.
Right, and people within the industry were like, this has never happened before, that they've
Yeah.
gotten
Yeah,
to
'cause it
completion, and they're not going to release them. Now, this is in the wake of Discovery buying WB back in like the beginning of the year, and then making
Yep.
statements that they were going to clean up all of WB and HBO Max and all
You
that
can't
stuff.
say they didn't warn you. Like, they're
No,
like, we're
can't.
cleaning
That's
stuff
true.
up. We're gonna start, like, shoveling shit. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, no, they straight up said that they were going to be doing this and they're going to fix the DC universe. Now, following that,
means.
we got various reports that either Batgirl was terrible or that it doesn't line up with the overall vision. From what I've seen from officials, not just people ranting on TikTok and shit like that, seems to be a little bit of both. From what it seems to be is that Batgirl was an okay movie, but it didn't go up to the level they wanted it to be. And they're trying to, at the same time, correct the continuity problems that have been created by the former leadership over at WB. If you don't know, WB tried to do Marvel in their own way, back at Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Justice League.
What?
And
Wonder
it all went terrible if you were living under a rock. And then they came out with a solo movie, Joker, and decided that every movie would then be solo. But at the same time, they were maintaining a continuity through the universes, and they never even specified if it was Zack Snyder or the regular one. Then they released more Zack Snyder stuff, and the whole thing got more convoluted. So no one knew where anything was really happening.
Yeah.
It's still happening. We don't know where anything's technically taking place.
Nope.
And their answer has been to be quiet with the philosophy of, well, we have a multiverse, and we're just here to make stories. We're not worried about a bigger picture.
Yeah.
That literally is the
That's
statement
fine.
that was made. Right,
Is it-
which I don't think it's the best option, but
No.
it's an okay thing to, okay, fine. If that's what you want to
I mean,
do.
if we keep getting movies like the Batman and the Suicide Squad,
and
which
Joker,
are completely
regardless of you
yeah,
liking or disliking
well,
it is a great standalone thing that won nominations. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
It's just it's still it blows my mind that simultaneously the MCU's been running the exact same time as all this DC stuff, and like they didn't have a blueprint. They're like, we're gonna throw shit. We're gonna see if this works. Then they made it work, and DC's like, no, we're gonna do this.
We want to skip 10 years.
I think Batman, or no, we're gonna do Superman movie. Batman and Superman together, 2 in 1, easy. Justice League, boom. That's all you need. That's all we all need,
baby.
Well, really.
The fact of the matter is here's exactly what went down. If you look into the reports of logos and appearances of superheroes, Batman and Superman are two of the most well-known superheroes in the entire world. Now, a lot of MCU characters have gotten up there now thanks to the MCU. But if you go all the way back to the beginning of the MCU, no one knew who the hell Iron Man was or a Captain America was. They knew Spider-Man.
Robot.
Yeah.
Spider-Man was the character that mattered, and that was the only one that mattered. And I feel like that information got into the WB executives' heads with the philosophy of, we don't have to do the MCU plan because we have the most well-known characters in the world. We can skip a few steps.
They literally have the most like iconic and well-known female superhero. Like they have Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Like they don't need, and that's why BVS is a Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman movie, because they're like, we can make one movie, all 3 characters, and then just go.
Yeah, they could have at least made it a good movie.
Well, hey, Batman and Superman is good if you watch the Ultimate Extended Edition.
Yeah.
No.
Look, long story short, I like Zack Snyder's movies, but the problem is you need to give him 6 hours to tell a good movie.
I'm not going to do that.
Anyway, that's a discussion for another day. So what ended up happening was, going after those movies right there, we then ran into the 2000s where WB was under the philosophy of, we're just going to make movies, and all of us DCEU fans pretty much went, all right, well, I guess this is better than not getting DC movies. You know
right,
what I mean?
exactly. Yeah.
Some of us DC fans, some of us just stopped going to the movie theaters for the first time in their entire lives.
And then what happened is AT&T went crazy in debt, and they sold WB, which owns DC Comics, to Discovery and Discovery Plus. So we got to deal with that. And then they said they're going to clean it up. What?
I don't know how AT&T is in debt considering how high my phone bill is. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I pay $100 a month for this internet, AT&T. How you going broke?
Yeah,
What are you doing over
What'd
there?
you do? Who's managing you? Literally, I'm so. I don't necessarily understand that at all, or how like a mega company like that can have such a massive acquisition and then immediately need to sell it off. Because what, they bought it like 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, no, it was such a short window of time that AT&T acquired Warner Brothers, screwed it up, realized they couldn't afford it in the first place. And by the way, nice oversight, government. You saw that this company couldn't possibly handle owning a movie studio because it was insolvent, and then you went like, well, you'll figure it out. And then they did. And they sold it to the guys who make Flea Market Flip. Congratulations.
Well, the problem with what happened with AT&T is, simply put, you're right. They didn't know what they were doing. They were just cash grabbing whatever they can get their hands on.
Yeah.
But then we had a pandemic happen, and they had no idea what to do.
That's true. The pandemic nobody saw that coming, and that really screwed the pooch for those AT&T people. Which here you go, world's smallest violin for you. But
I know.
Yeah. So here we are.
So we got Discovery bought it. Just give it a quick recap. I'm not going to go in depth into anything
please,
else.
yeah, go ahead.
But Discovery bought it, and then the first things Discovery said was, "Hey, we're going to get a Kevin Feige. We're going to fix the
which they
DC
still
universe."
haven't done.
Which they still haven't done. They haven't done any of this. But this was early in the year, and now we've hit. Movies just stopped getting mentioned, and we all found it a bit weird that San Diego Comic-Con only mentioned Shazam and Black Adam. Well, as it turns out, it's because they have straight up canceled Batgirl along with a few other HBO Max projects.
Yeah.
This week has been insane for HBO and WB announcements because they are just going through and just chopping off stuff. Right before the investor call, they fired 70% of the HBO Originals team, which basically...
Was it speculation, or did they actually finalize that firing?
So I don't know either way at the moment. I'm not going to confirm or deny because I don't know. But because of that...
They're all fired.
Yeah. The current speculation is almost all of the HBO original shows are going to be cut. How this affects the DC fans, that means Titans, Doom Patrol, and the Harley Quinn show are all on the chopping block.
Yeah.
So...
but Flash gets to finish for some reason.
That Flash movie is just baffling that they're like, no! Like we saw
yeah, that too. I was talking about the show.
Oh,
well,
yeah,
the show is owned by
got
CW.
canceled.
It falls under a different thing since I forget who, but somebody else
Another
also
video I
owns
have
it.
to make.
What?
I forgot to cover the Flash because I was so
you
happy.
don't.
You sometimes you don't want to share that joy, on screen. You want to have it in your home.
Right.
Flash is over, guys. It's okay. It's ended.
But the Flash,
yet.
the CW network is owned not entirely by WB. So there are other hands in that.
They're trying to
that
sell
doesn't
off
go affect.
CW specifically. My understanding of it is that like they're done with that property.
Well, because CW
altogether.
couldn't even make money. Like CW's been in the red for like
Ever.
decades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
since
literally
its
never been a
inception?
profitable IP, which is crazy because at one point they had the most watched show on network television. They
Yeah.
just literally didn't know how to translate shit. But which I'm fine with. I thought that was going to mean more HBO Max series of our superheroes, but now I guess it means less of them.
Yeah,
That's kind of
so.
stuff.
So what has happened is right before the investor meeting, there was clarification from the CEO what they're doing. What he has stated is their plan is to come up with a 10-year plan for the the DC Cinematic Universe. They're going to hire a Kevin Feige and have a 10-year plan and repeat what is going on in the MCU. They're going to just finally carbon copy it.
Yeah.
But what this also means is that they're not focused on HBO Max or HBO Max originals. What they're focused on are big theatrical releases.
Yes.
And they want it all to be interconnected and have a giant storyline, and it's going to be told.
Right.
They've
But
also
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say they also don't want to deal with like the mid-budget. Like they don't want to do like side projects, smaller projects. Like the Batgirl doesn't fall in line with the plan because it was a $90 million movie,
Yes.
and we're only making $200 million movies.
Exactly. It's exactly what they're saying. And so what's really going on right now is they're claiming, and if you read his statement, he actually talks like he just wants the old school movies. Like
Right.
he literally denounces streaming as a service.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want to make streaming movies. They're not going to be doing this. It's going to be what their plan is to do is to make big theatrical releases, and streaming will give you a better experience. But they want to hit the movie theaters. And he talks about how him and
does that
his
mean?
group all want the movies to come back. They want to be in the theaters. So it seems like a push to, like, hey, we have these movie studios. We're making movies. We're not doing the streaming thing. I don't want to sit at my house and watch movies.
No.
But he says you'll get a
Theater.
better experience at home because they're going to make more into it. So my assumption is extended editions will go to HBO Max.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It is- and then maybe they'll do the IMAX
boy.
enhanced the same way Disney Plus does. But
Yes.
Yeah.
it's mind blowing that they're doing this to HBO Max because that is easily the most adopted, accepted new streaming service. I've never seen this many people be like, "Oh, we love a streaming service." No one fucking likes Netflix anymore. Everybody has their regular beef with Hulu. Their shows disappear week to week, whatever.
Yep.
HBO Max is the only one that's come out that people are like, "Oh yeah, I love Max. I watch this. I watch freaking Euphoria and then Batman. Like I have like a spread Game of Thrones and Harry Potter. Whatever I need is on there.
Yeah.
New rom-coms to animated movies and stuff. People have loved it. It's crazy that they're messing with HBO Max as a brand. I feel like it was a successful, sustainable model. They're like making what everyone wanted.
They're saying it wasn't. They're saying that the numbers pale in comparison to a theatrical release is what he said.
They're
in the
probably
statement.
right. I mean, the reality is,
absolutely.
like, if you look on the other side of the pond, like, Scarlett Johansson sued the shit out of Disney because, like, Black Widow was not the juggernaut on Disney Plus they all thought it would hoped it would
Yeah.
be, you know? And it's like, yeah, you know what? Like, theatrical releases don't work on streaming. If you spent, and like a little asterisk, if you spent $250 million to make it,
Right.
Right.
you know, like,
I
there's
didn't
no
mind the
saying
smaller
that,
projects.
No, and that's the thing. Like Blue Beetle, Batgirl, the Peacemaker show, all these like mid-tier, like smaller budget movie-esque like comic book properties. They have sustainability on this platform. I mean, like look at the success of shows like Titans, despite like controversy around its like
It's
you
a
know,
bad
taste
show
level.
and it does great.
It's a bad show and it does great. Doom
I love
Patrol,
it, but
good
whatever.
show. It also does well, you know. But like, there's other shows like that.
I completely agree, Sal. It's such a weird choice to just like get rid of what I think is a cool idea. It's more expensive than a CW show,
Right.
and then like a network television. Not as expensive a $250 movie or $250 million movie, and it's like in the middle. It's a TV show with 3 episodes, 4 episodes.
Yeah.
That's week to week. You have virality. You're staying in the media and the news by like
Yeah.
having cliffhangers and stuff.
And
Everyone's
less
excited
risk.
about it.
No, you're creating a phenomenon each week. Like that's Disney Plus has got it on lockdown. They're like, no, The only thing that they screwed up is they should still stagger their releases. Like Disney Plus should not be putting out Ms. Marvel and Obi-Wan at the same time. Like
Yeah, that was a weird
the-
decision.
The format is Marvel, Star Wars, Marvel, Star Wars. Like you don't cross-pollinate.
Well,
That
they
doesn't
pushed
work.
back Andor, so I think they're going back to that. I think
Good.
they tested it with
I
Miss
saw that,
Marvel
yeah.
and Obi-Wan.
She-Hulk
and
also
they
got
were-
pushed back a week, so I don't know. I hope it doesn't.
Oh, that
screw
works
up.
so well for us because it was coming out the day we're at Seattle.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Perfect.
But by the way, I should also mention that like this is also so we're seeing like this blueprint, right? This is what like the Discovery plan is, and they've released like an entire little like chart with like pictures and stuff.
Because what happened is after these statements, the investor call happened,
Right.
which confirmed everything. So again, just explain the chart. I just wanted to say where that was coming.
Oh
out of.
no, you got the charts in front of you, I'm sure, but like
Okay, so Discovery Plus, now that they have said this, they have said we're going to get a Kevin Feige, we're going to do all of this.
still haven't had one.
No, they still haven't had one. But they came out and so networks, studios, corporate, other. So this is crazy because they even put out the revenue broken down, which I believe they're supposed to.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fact that they did it is still
It's kind of baffling. We've never seen it. Like that's kind of cool.
to go to this length of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me. There, that should be it. Did
Hi,
I get it?
everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So what they show here is right there. So network TV, studios. What is DTC? Do we know?
No.
Down to clown.
which they are clearly.
I think it's streaming services, right? HBO Max, or HBO.
Yes,
Discovery
I feel like
Plus.
it's direct to something. Direct to consumer.
Direct to
consumers. There
you
you
go.
That
Look
makes
at us,
Sweet.
guys.
We figured it out. All right.
So look
High
at the
school graduate
difference here,
here.
though. Studios and network dwarf direct to consumer, and I think they
Yeah.
put this out there to kind of back what they're saying.
Right.
That the guys, this isn't working the way we want it to. Oh yeah, because it's right there, Discovery Plus, HBO Max, and HBO direct to
Right, because
consumer.
it sounds like it's all kind of like conjecture. It sounds like it's an opinion of like the head honcho in charge of Discovery,
Right.
and he's like, no, look at the numbers that I generated in this flowchart that is only internal and closed end to end.
Yeah.
It says what I'm saying, which is that it's not viable. Which I mean, like I would believe, like in the smallest microcosm possible, you would assume that digital comics would have sold during the pandemic, and in fact they didn't. Like they were selling worse. So like you would have assumed that the digital exclusive video content would have like blown up as a
Right.
result of the pandemic, and in fact like some of it did, but it didn't across the board. And that's what I think
Right.
what he's trying to say here.
User-generated content blew up while studio content went dipped down significantly.
Yeah, despite the creation of like Disney Plus and HBO Max and Discovery Plus and all that stuff that happened kind of around that window. But yeah, so that's what we're looking at here is like this breakdown.
I love people. Look, I like the Snyderverse, and I'm the guy here on this 4-man group that actually does.
Yeah.
But like seriously, I'm just gonna say, how stupid can you be?
Right, let it
if
go.
If the statement
stupid
is
can you
we're
be?
rebooting everything, you're not bringing back Zack Snyder and restoring the Snyderverse.
Right.
It's
That's
over.
over.
They're
Look,
basically
how
literally
would you-
stating we're having a reboot. So that means they're going to keep Flashpoint, reboot the DC universe, and that'll be the new direction.
Right.
What a bunch of weirdos. I saw so many of these. All this Discovery Plus stuff was going on, and they're like, hopefully this is going to be how they renew the Snyderverse. I'm like, dog. that
They're
shit's been
literally
on the chopping
stating-
block.
Yeah.
It's over.
They
It's
literally
done.
said we are rebooting. That does not mean rebooting by bringing back something from 5 years ago. That means we are starting over. And
the
they
funny
still got
thing
that
is-
Flash movie to do it.
Oh my god. And what's so funny about that is that you have this like kind of official word, and you'd think that they'd have all of their creatives on lockdown, because like this didn't just come out of nowhere. This wasn't like a lone dissenting Edward Snowden-esque leaker who dropped this bomb. Like, this is just the prelude before the investors meeting. They had to make this stuff. It took them more than a day to make this chart.
Right.
You would have assumed they would have reached out to all of their prominent creators to like have an official word on the subject. But Peacemaker Season 2 is still happening, because according to James Gunn on Twitter as of August 2nd, he says, when asked the question, is Peacemaker Season 2 safe? He says, yes, guys, calm down. Calm down, Peacemaker 2 is happening, which is in the DCEU. So, like, no, don't worry. The
Right.
DCEU is rebooting, but also Peacemaker Season 2 is still definitely happening. Then you have people talking about, like, how this is all imploding, and they're like, what does this mean for Flash? And then some executive coming out and being like, everything's totally okay in the Flash world. And I'm like, excuse me. Ezra Miller is literally walking around the American countryside wearing a bulletproof vest right now. And things are
awesome.
decidedly not fine. Like, but they don't have it. Like, they're like, we're going to get a Feige. First of all, get one. Secondly, figure this out and get your people on lockdown. They're just people going like, oh yeah, no, we're fine. And it's like so in direct contrast to this plan.
Yeah,
Like,
they're literally stating that they're going to reset the DCEU. with a 10-year plan similar to the MCU. Now that means they're not taking any of the old stuff. They're not taking Snyderverse. They're not taking solo Joker films. They're resetting the DCEU. Now I wonder what this like. Are we going to be a straight reset? So basically, all solo projects, everything out the window. No more TV shows. We are only doing
movies, theatrical release films.
But here's the thing though. That's not the MCU plan anymore. The MCU plan is shows. But I could see them canceling Titans, Harley Quinn, Doom Patrol, and only keeping Peacemaker because of how well it did, and it's in the DCEU. So you could reset Peacemaker with everything else and then do things of that quality moving forward.
This whole thing just reads to me as like they'll say whatever they can to make people happy right now, but they're not going to like actually commit to any of this. Because like they're obviously, they would be stupid to cancel like the Batman 2 or, you know, Joker 2 or Peacemaker Season 2. Like, they'd be dumb to cancel that stuff. But that would be more in line with, hey, we're starting fresh. We're just going to do Marvel's thing.
Aquaman 2. Like, they put Ben
Aquaman 2,
Affleck in the movie.
Black Adam.
I honestly feel like everything's moving forward as planned right now until they get the Feige. Because there is no one to say if they... Because... I mean, you could hire me and Sal. They're not going to obviously go to, but you could hire me and Sal, and we would go, hey, we're just going to make this multiverse is Batman, and then over here, and then we'll just do this movie where they converge. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what the MCU seems to be doing at the X-Men, where they're just going to kind of bring them in through a convergence of some sorts. Who knows?
I don't know what that plan is, but like that... But I promise you, they have a better idea about what they're going to do with the X-Men than anyone here has any plan for DC.
Well, I don't think they have a plan right now. I think the plan was we need to recoup a little bit of money for this quarter, cancel things that are obviously not going to work or they're not getting, you know, praised across the board in the test. Yeah. So Batgirl, the Scoob movie. Like, hey, you might have had fans for these, but we're not going to have all the fans. So let's just chuck it because we got to save money.
Well,
leave everything else on the docket right now.
The idea?
Yeah, it's a tax
write-off. The whole thing is done as a tax
write-off. And they probably have
insurance
on it too.
Definitely.
So, like, get rid of everything that we know isn't going to work. Leave everything else on place. Get a Feige. Let him figure it out.
Right. Like the thing, by the way, the thing about the get a Feige, the thing that every time I hear it, like makes like the back of my like the hairs on the back of my neck stand up because I'm like Marvel didn't. When the MCU was generated, they didn't go like, we got to get ourselves a head honcho who's going to make all the right decisions. Like Feige was a producer who made superhero movies during a time when like they were becoming actual movies. Yeah. And he learned on the job and then took his expertise and his personal enjoyment of that universe and brought it to the fore. Like that was a Feige. Marvel / Paramount back then wasn't like, we got to get ourselves a guy. And when we get that guy, we're going to hire him and then defer to him. That's not how these companies, particularly Discovery / Warner's, is going to work. You're going to hire a person and then let them have the final say. Because that's another thing about like the MCU and why it works so well is because Feige is kind of a dictator over this whole thing. Like, like he does, you know, you remember how the MCU not like hit its stride, but also like sowed its oats after Feige broke from Perlmutter and like became a Disney executive. You know, like that was when he became like the head honcho Feige and couldn't be, and it was unfireable. But you're never going to have a Feige if you hire a creative person that you have control over. Like, because you're always going to question their decisions and then ultimately fire that Feige if and when that person disagrees with you. Right. It's like, no, you need to have you need to appoint an executive that is either on equal footing or higher footing than you, which they never do, and tell them, and also have intrinsic trust in their creative process, which they're also never going to be able to accomplish. It's like the whole damn thing just seems like it's all made of sand. Yeah.
Yeah. You bring up very scary reality.
I'm sorry. I mean, I don't want to like. I do want to be
it's fair. I agree with you completely that they always make it sound easy, but the fact that they've never even attempted to do it. Like at one point, Jeff Johns was supposed to be it.
Right.
How fucking quickly was Jeff Johns in and out of there?
Yeah, exactly.
Ousted.
I do find it funny looking at these comments here. Somebody that like Zack Snyder's Justice League footage was showed with Ray Fisher's Cyborg. That reset means getting rid of Hamadaverse. 100% chances of restore the Snyderverse. Like I said, I love the Snyderverse, but guys,
It's over.
They're not bringing it. They're not bringing it back. Like,
Did
it's
we
too
have
Best shot.
divisive.
Get him to make a comic book of the Snyderverse.
Yeah, there you go. He would hate it. He doesn't read comic books.
No,
But,
yeah, of course he doesn't read comic books. He obviously has never picked up a book before he made Superman. The other things in this quarterly report for Warner Brothers stuff, it's like this panel that's titled "Unique and Complementary," and it has two charts where it says HBO Max, male skewed, scripted, lean in,
That's only for men.
appointment viewing,
Yeah.
home of the fandoms, Discovery Plus, female skew, unscripted, lean back, comfort viewing, home of
HGTV and
it's just like, this is the most tone deaf shit I've read in my life.
Yeah,
This
like
is the
it
most
really
tone deaf
is.
shit in my life. You're telling me that, when a woman watches a TV show, she's got to lean back,
gotta
sip
lean
some
back,
of her
get
tea.
her bonbons
I will say
on her tummy.
there's that was lean in and lean back was very interesting
Yes,
to me
that
because I
expression.
have a way that I like to categorize types of content in terms of meals. Like there's breakfast content, there's lunch content, there's dinner content.
Okay.
I have a whole short film written about like explaining that in a fun way.
Great.
And I've never seen like a corporate studio like sort of express that similar idea and lean in and like
Until
lean back
now.
is interesting
Right.
in that way.
I love the lean in, lean back because it's the most Hollywood thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. You want to draw them in.
Yeah.
You want them to be
You
on
want
the
this
edge
show?
of their
You know what
seat.
this movie is? This is a lean in movie. This is a lean in
Oh. HBO Max is for your 85-inch TV. Discovery Plus is for the 42 in the kitchen. It's for the
We call them the 42 inchers. The 42 inchers are going to really.
The 42 inchers are going to come. They're going to watch HGTV. They're going to watch Fixer Upper.
Yep.
But if you're on HBO Max,
You're getting to home theater.
It really looks like they just came in and there's been a lot of changes in how we handle television and properties and stuff like that since, in the last 10 to 15 years. Everything from gender studies to sex studies to everything has changed the way networks are trying to approach people. I like to look back at the CW's motto a lot of times, or it was "Dare to Defy," because they were reaching out to more
Still is,
minorities.
baby.
And they're what?
Still is. They're still daring to defy.
But like they would always do that and be like, "Look, we got the minorities and we got the LGBTQ crowd, and look what we got over here." That was always
sure
like the
do.
motto that they were. Huh?
They sure do.
Yeah.
they got
Just
all of
making
them.
comments. Don't
They
worry
got
about
them
me.
all. Yeah.
But like that kind of mentality came out of the last
Gauntlet.
10 years in television viewing and things like that,
Yeah.
And I feel like that, like because of the fact that things like CW just have tanked, that I actually don't think it has anything to do with the Dare to Defy motto or that agenda of being like, hey, let's get more minorities in here, more LGBTQ. I think it comes down to a problem of like they weren't making good shows.
Yeah,
Like,
they're just crappy shows, and people outgrew them. Like the problem
Yeah,
was, like Smallville. Smallville was like the only way you could watch Superman, and set against the last time Superman was a thing was Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman. So like that seemed like a quantum leap. No pun intended. That became a new thing. But like in today's world, that show is quaint.
I mean, that's always been my argument with a lot of that stuff because the old slogan from way back at all the gators of every gate of whatever supposedly happened was the whole "go woke, go broke" philosophy. But a lot of that stuff did work. They just like to focus in on the ones that were just making crappy products while attaching virtue signaling to it.
Which
but I feel like
diminishing quality on CW shows too. Like it fed into it too. Like if you look at CGI from Flash season 1,
Right.
which was filmed and finished in 2013, I think was like done. The people got the screeners. Didn't come out 2014. And then you look at Flash today, like a brand new episode. The CG is like not even comparable. And the old one, like he's running by and car glass is breaking and like the camera moves different with the CG. It's like far more adept than it is now because they can't afford it.
Well, like, apropos of that, I saw somebody talking about how, like, Andor, like that trailer for Andor looks so good. And it's like, because they didn't shoot it in the circle room. They shot it outside. And I was like, what? Like, that show was shot, like, a while back. And it looks better because they're shooting on location. And I'm like, well, that's going to happen, yeah. Like, when you rely too heavily on technology, it's going to look like that,
But the slide that you showed there, because I mean these guys own CW now, or at least a portion of it.
Right.
I feel like that's a lot of old executives, because these are guys who are literally spouting, instead of trying to get with the times, no, we want to go back to the theaters and get back that experience.
Come on, I didn't get into the cinema business, to watch it on my television screen with my tubes.
Right. Well, I mean, how many times have we seen like that? I think it's Tom Cruise. One of them is like, dude, don't experience it on your phone. Experience it in the theater. Like that mentality.
It's the worst nightmare. There's like 30 white men in a high rise somewhere who, like, if you whisper like they're gonna watch this on their phone, they like have a heart attack.
It looks like the Hudsucker Proxy.
Like, no,
it's gonna be awesome.
They can't lean back and watch that.
But no, this is not a lean back film.
No,
this is a lead in. I had it on our flow chart. It says no skew, scripted, lean in.
They should have popcorn. They should be paying $40 for popcorn and $20 for soda. What are they doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Our margins.
But what I feel like is going on is these guys bought this, all wanted to get into the movie business, the theatrical releases, and they're like, okay, so what do we know from our time period that made these work? Male, females, demographics. We need that to be a thing. What do they want? Okay, women want to make houses and gardens. What do guys want? They want to see things punching. A lot.
You know,
they want to see
to
Batman.
contradict that immediately, my girlfriend was watching some superhero shit while I've been watching like home renovation stuff on TikTok and YouTube.
Yeah.
I've been super into it. I've been like painting accent walls and pipe shelving. I'm very excited about all the concepts,
Right? If it's engaging, it doesn't matter. It's not gender specific, but like...
Right.
But
I feel like these guys are trying to go back to that. They're like, okay, 2005 when the MCU started, it was movies. Movies are the way we start this. We have a very male demographic, a very female demographic. You know what I mean? Like, it's
well, you know what it is. This is these guys fancy themselves competitors to Disney, Marvel, right? And
or that they want to be.
But it could be that they're like, no. Look at what Marvel is doing. Like, look at how this is. We've been trying to copy them, right? But we haven't seen them actually like make a misstep yet. But these guys are embracing TV and streaming. If we go full hog in movies, we're going to catch back up with them and we're going to overtake them because we're going to be the filmmakers now. Like. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the approach. They're just like, no, we're separate. We're going to kill TV. We're going to kill all of our TV projects, or at least shunt them over to women. And then we're going to make these big, huge, epic movies. And
women watch the TV shows while they're making me a sandwich and doing the laundry, right, boys?
Right? Exactly. And they're like, I'm gay. I don't know what that means. Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, what? Oh, right.
I can't wait for like in 5 years to have the like DC snobs on Twitter who are like, oh, DC is art,
cinema.
Marvel roller coaster.
It's just it's mind-boggling to me that they're like, we're gonna go to just movies and it's gonna make sense when film has made more sense. Like when we're talking like series, like high production value series, it's maybe the coolest thing that we've ever gotten.
Right.
Yeah. Like period. Being able to watch, like some of it they fumbled a bag and some of they don't really like pay off, but others of it it's like, oh my god, I just watched 10 episodes of a show that is so much like The Boys.
Yeah.
I never wanted The Boys movie. I could live the rest of my life without a fucking Boys movie.
Totally.
But the series, every episode looks like a movie. There's occasionally wonky, penis CGI, but other than that, like it literally is a fantastic, amazing show.
Look at like True Detective, Breaking Bad, like Game of Thrones. Like the language has changed.
It has.
Yeah. And these folks just don't want to speak that language. They don't want to learn. They don't want to Rosetta Stone. They are like,
that's what I'm bringing back this. This is what I want to show up next. This slide right here. Because this kind of shows that they're trying to go back to what things were like in 2010s. Because they're like, here's our brands. Here's our franchises. And I love that Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman are just separate franchises.
Yeah, they're each their own franchise and also part of the same universe.
Right. But they're also alongside Shark Week, Game of Thrones, 90 Day Fiancé, and not Harry Potter, but the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Isn't that the theme park?
No, I guess it is, like actually, now that you think about it. Yeah, but also
the name of the theme park.
No, that's what they call
Fantastic Beasts now.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's what they call the universe.
This is mind-blowing. And it's also like they want to find their differentiator between them and Marvel, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference between DC and Marvel movies? Like, we're going to be all the movie guys. They're going to be the movies and TV guys. No, bro, your fucking comic books are different. Your source material is different. You have different characters and heroes with different powers and like histories.
Yeah.
Can we look at their iconic series real quick? We have Friends, Fixer Upper, The Big Bang Theory, Property Brothers, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives.
It's a huge show. It's a huge show, man. I don't know how many. There's like 400 seasons of that show.
You ever been to a hotel room? That's all you watch.
Oh, I know. I do watch it, but
it's just
would you consider
that's just the show now.
Just because it's on all the time, would you consider it like, oh, that's that? It's like ridiculousness over at MTV. It's like that's all that channel is now. Ridiculousness.
It's on all the time because they watch it. Like they figured out.
Wild and Out is the only thing on one of those networks. It's the only show that's on ever, and I'm like, I've never once watched this.
No.
Who is watching this?
Someone is because they figured it out. Like they set their watch to it. No, if I just put on 700 episodes of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives and just leave for the month, I'm still gonna make the same amount of money as if I invested money in a new show and tried to build it from scratch. Like, no. Guy Fieri's gonna get in his ugly red car. He's gonna go to some shitball restaurant and he's gonna eat a sandwich like I've never seen a human being eat a sandwich before in my life.
Guys, this is fantastic here.
Like he's gonna eat a sandwich.
I'm getting hints of aioli and garlic.
You guys ever tasted brisket on bread?
Like Shrek.
Oh man,
and
I'm so hungry.
And it's going to cost me like however much his airfare and hotel lodgings are, and that's it. Like that's the budget.
He drives there, Sal. What are you talking about?
What? He does not drive there.
I wonder if he road trips in that car, or if somebody else drives the car and he gets into it.
Okay, here's a little behind the scenes news for you. He doesn't because that car is in the driveway of the Jefferson Diner about 30 minutes away from my house. They bought the car because they were so proud of having this bridge troll come to their place and eat their goddamn sandwiches. They put it right there. It's next to their logo. It's horrible. But, yeah, no,
God,
he doesn't have that
incredible.
car. That car is not his anymore. That car belongs to the Jefferson Diner.
That's hilarious.
Take a picture in front of it, which I've never done. I've never had the inclination to go like, look, it's the car that Guy Fieri farted in when he drove away from this place.
So
Cool.
That's where we're at, though, which is what makes all of this interesting. Is I don't know what's going on, but the thing is, I don't think they do either.
No.
Like everyone's spouting around here, being like, "Oh my God, this is bringing back the
We're going to
Snyderverse."
shift the paradigm.
Oh my God, we're getting an MCU, or oh my God, this is terrible. All of that is like the arguments happening.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what it really boils down to is no one knows what's happening, and DC or Warner Brothers Discovery Plus doesn't know.
No.
They don't know because they haven't hired them, and they're just trying to recoup money right now.
Yeah, no, the only thing we do know is they killed at least 2 very expensive movies for tax write-off purposes. The rest of it is all just horseshit you'd hear at, like, the Brown Derby. Like, just overheard from another table over there. Just people being like, yeah, we're going to shift the paradigm and we're going to make a lean-in, high-volume, male-centric franchise.
Well,
like,
as somebody who is loosely in the entertainment industry,
Right.
we had this talk yesterday. Actually, it was about the TikTok thing where people think they're going to get a bunch of followers that show up at an event and they don't.
And
I was like, the fact is, influencers like D-tier celebrities. We're super big if we go to the right place with the right crowd.
yes.
You guys see me at Disney World? You don't understand what happens, dude. Security has to break up crowds.
Sometimes. But at Disney World, not in Birmingham.
Not at Six Flags.
It's
anyway,
an excuse place to place.
Yeah.
You have to recognize where your value is, and TV shows and movies are bigger than that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I forget where I was going at this point. But
You're talking about because I was making fun of the entertainment industry and how they don't. You were saying they don't know
buzzwords.
anything.
What I was saying is but I've been in these entertainment industry meetings. You know how many times I hear the buzzwords over and over and over, and it means nothing.
Right.
It's just buzzwords. That's all they're spouting buzzwords, and that's what it looks like over on here. They're just recouping some money and still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're trying to not completely alienate their fan bases. That's why the people's being like, Snyderverse is definitely coming back. No, I don't believe that it's definitely coming back. Do I think that they might hire a Feige who's a fan of the Snyderverse, who may talk to Zack Snyder about possibly starting again? Maybe.
Who knows?
But they
Probably.
don't have they don't have the Feige.
No.
I also don't think they're going to make the Snyderverse just simply because of how diverse it is.
Well, the fact
it
is,
alienated the fan base,
if it worked, we wouldn't be here. He'd be the Feige, and that would be the thing. But it didn't make the money, so it's not.
Yeah, that's
I
basically
feel like
what it is.
They're not gonna tell us when they have their Feige. They're just gonna make a few movies and then
Whoever's
eventually-
movie made the most money, like it'll be the guy who made the
it'll
Joker
just
movie.
come.
Will be the
Like
Feige.
it'll just happen.
I don't even think that's it. I think they
sorry.
already have an idea for their Feiges, and we're gonna have a separate discussion where we discuss who they could bring in for the Feige.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to announce it because I think what they're trying to do right now is they know DC's a mess.
Yeah.
They know it. It's all over the news between the Snyderverse, between the Joss Whedon situation, between the Ray Fisher lawsuits, between the fact that Ben Affleck has quit and come back 4 times. I think.
No. They can't have a clean conversation.
To bring Michael Keaton back.
Yeah,
they had multiple Michael Keatons. They had in continuity Michael Keaton. They had 89 Michael Keaton. They had multiple Michael Keaton Batmans in the same or different universes. And now we may never see Michael Keaton in a Batman suit again. we went from seeing Michael Keaton be Batman at least in 2 different movies to maybe never seeing Michael Keaton as Batman again.
Did we ever get him officially as Batman?
What?
Not like we.
No. The big one was going to be in the what's that movie? Flash. That was going to be the big one.
Batgirl.
Right.
Yeah, Flash and Batgirl.
Yeah, but they might cut that out now because it wouldn't make any sense because he's not going to be Batman and Batgirl because Batgirl's not a movie anymore.
But what I think
they're doing right now,
a more integral part, like a character in the movie.
I hope so.
Yeah.
What I really think they're trying to do at the moment, and what I think is happening, is they're doing nothing but spouting off buzzwords to try and get the DC audience hyped again.
Or at
we're
least
getting
get
a Feige. We're
yeah.
going to focus on this. We're going to focus on that. We're going to do this. And we're going to do that. Because right now, they need people excited.
Yeah.
They want you excited to go see Shazam and Black Adam and Aquaman 2, because these movies need to succeed.
Yes.
And they need a Feige, and I guarantee they're going to tell us when they got a Feige so that they can be like, look, we got a plan in place. We hired Jeff Johns back for the 80th time.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that is, like, nobody knew who Feige was. Like, when Feige was in charge and when Feige was building this whole thing, like, he was just, he was not, like, doing, it wasn't like when they announced the next Bond and he's, like, driving a boat down the River Thames. And they were like, ladies and gentlemen, ha! Like, he just was working.
Feige.
He was just, like, in a trailer, like, just coming up with shit. And now, when they announce their Feige, he or she is going to immediately be under the most scrutiny they could possibly be under, where they're gonna be like,
that's why I think they shouldn't.
Yeah, no, they shouldn't. They should just have a
shouldn't,
Feige.
but I think
they should
all of
hire
this
a
is to hype
Feige
people.
and then keep them in a room somewhere forever.
They should hire like 6 Feiges and then have them
battle.
Yeah.
And whoever wins
like
is
a battle
true
royale
Feige.
situation.
Well, they should each make a movie, and then
Yes,
But also pay the original Feige to watch the fight, so he can watch
judge
his
it.
hats and
he's the referee.
Yeah. Honestly, like the thing, this could also be another
zone that
video. Is
closes
like
in.
I genuinely think Marvel is screwed if and when there is no more Feige. Like when Feige is like, I'm done.
Right.
I 100% agree with you on that
Based
one.
on
If
how
Feige
this
ever
industry
quits-
works, like they're just like, I don't know.
Hey, the problem is Feige
What
is
an
a rare
upsetting
gem. The
statement.
fact
Yeah.
that we call it a Feige and not like a creative
Right, and not
director or
his
whatever.
job title.
No, it's just Feige's really good at keeping things together. Because even when he makes a misstep, they can fix it quickly. You know what I mean? Like he's just really good at it.
The funniest thing about this to me is like comic books have many Feiges. They're called editors, but they don't do their jobs. So we don't just say they need editors.
Right.
We say they need a Feige.
Right.
Which is absurd.
Yeah,
We
no.
just need a head editor, which apparently Marvel
they need
doesn't
an editor
have.
in chief
Yeah.
who knows what's going on, but like neither. That's actually
they
kind of
never
funny
do.
and telling is that the big two haven't had like strong editors in chief in over 10 years, and it's like really it's really it shows, and these studios don't either, and it shows.
That's like when the strongest your like in terms of Marvel, the strongest like your whole line was like consistent in a while was because of one writer writing one Avengers book.
Yep.
And then everything else was nebulous to him. It's like, oh well, they know what they're doing. When really, no, it's just
No.
Bendis doing his own thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So
They liked it, so
Yeah.
that's where we are with this, basically.
We're nowhere.
I really feel like this is all just vaporware buzzwords until they figure it out. I don't think we have any guarantee. Like people will be like, 100% Zack Snyder. Do not think that. 100% wiping it out. Also don't think that. I think what's going to happen is once they get a Feige, he'll decide what he wants to do.
Right.
And I do think they're going to use Flashpoint, hence why it got pushed back, to launch into the new universe.
Yeah.
So I think like that. There's going to be a reshoot to the post-credit scene that's going to introduce whoever the new crew is, and they're going to move forward.
Yeah.
The fact that it has taken 14 years by the time this is done for somebody to finally go, what the hell are we doing? Marvel did it.
Yeah.
Blows my mind.
I know.
I feel like me and Dylan are like 23. If we choose to have kids like in our 30s, our kids' cinematic universe, the same way that we grew up with the MCU, might be the DCU, because maybe by then, in like a decade, they're gonna be able to actually start their universe and be like, yeah, I just watched Superman 1, Dad. It's like, I don't care. Those movies suck. It's like I'll be the boomer who like refuses to give DC a chance, which I don't want to, because DC Comics, for me as like a comic book reader, I was always far more in love with the DC stories than I ever was attached to anything Marvel was putting out. And then movie wise, it's like, oh man, I don't want to go see this, guys. I really don't want to go. Batman v Superman was the very first comic book movie I chose not to see in theaters. Like, I'd seen every single thing that had ever dropped from around like 2008 forward, and that was the one I was like, I can't watch this movie.
Yeah. Well, there we
So
are.
I watched
Venom
it later
for me.
and it sucked, and I was
Right.
happy I didn't pay money to go see it. So
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
So there we are. That is. I'm
Yeah.
going to conclude the topic there because this is one of our longer videos, and I think at this point we're not talking in circles.
Yeah.
So
true.
yeah. So I'm Benny.
Like
That is
DC.
Sal. That is Hassan. And like DC. That is Dylan. Quippy today. He's quippy. you get a quip point in our Spider-Verse D&D. There you go.
Cool. Awesome.
All right, we are going to take off. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Absolutely. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, G Fuel. Where'd my can go? I had G Fuel here. No, I don't.
It's on your shelf behind you.
Ah, they moved it when they cleaned. Shit. Nope, not
No.
making it.
This is the longest outro.
And don't forget to subscribe so we can hit 100 subs. Thank you guys. We'll see you next time right here.